Hello, there you go. Hi, Karen. Do you know the tutorials are on this week? I believe they are, but I'm not 100% sure because it's Music Week at TAFE this week. It's called Gig Fest now, so it's not quite the same. Which is, yeah, essentially just a bunch of performances, no masterclasses. But yeah, typically they are. Yeah, of course. I believe, who would know? Michael Rohanek. Michael.Rohanek. Let me just check his email. 1 second. Because, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Normally they run, but this week I'm not sure they are. Where's my other Teams windows? Chat, Michael. Michael.Rohanek at TAFE, nsw.edu.au. Okay. I can barely hear myself. Everyone can hear me okay? Yep. Okay. I can hear you okay. Just my own voice just sounds very quiet. Very quiet. We'll just go with that. I don't need to hear me, I need to hear you. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. Okay. All good, Andrew. That's all right. Still missing a couple of people. Yeah. Oh, look, yeah, tutorials would help, and maybe message me outside of class if you have any very specific questions, and I'll see if I can help you as well. So, yeah, just let me know. Sample pack? No, this is just general Ableton stuff. But yes, before we let me just change my theme here. This looks good for me, probably not for you. Let me just change this. That's better. Okay. Share my screen. Include sound. Okie dokie. All right. So you can see me. Yes. Before we begin, I'd like to actually, while we wait for potentially 2 other people to join us, I'd like to ask how it's going with your sample pack, and generally how you're going with using the synths, the principles we talked about in class. Yeah, because this week, this term's different. It's called Gig Fest, and it's Music Week was performances and masterclasses. This semester, no masterclasses. Partly because the effort required to do it, it's an amazing amount of chaos, but it's also very taxing on everyone involved. It's hard to organize something good. It's very stressful. I never felt the levels of fatigue I have felt after teaching 8 weeks plus and coming up with completely original stuff for the master classes that I did. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I'm complaining, but we do it because we love it, but it's very taxing on time and energy. So this semester, the powers that be decided that instead of Music Week, we're doing Gig Fest, which is a chance to push all students to watch other students perform from both electro and from performance, and just to get people getting closer to each other, because there's this feeling that you guys are performers, you stay over there, you guys are the weird laptop kids, go over there, whereas in reality there's grey areas in both departments. So anyway, that's what I was told. Anyway, but yes, let's not talk about Geek Fest, because I don't know if that even pertains to everyone here, and if the sound of the idea of you checking out live performances from both Electro and the performance crew tickles your fancy, then it starts from Tuesday, tomorrow, pretty much all day. You rock up and there's going to be performances all day. But yeah, it's a different vibe to last semester. We did 2 music weeks. So that's 2 semesters. We've done music weeks, and it was fantastic. But yeah, it was just a lot going on. Just thinking about it gives me a bit of a trauma. Because yeah, believe it or not, every week I do research, and besides my admin stuff as online coordinator and on top of other stuff I do, I actually every week is essentially a fresh lesson. I pull up what I had, what I've done, and then I modify, take out, research new stuff. Every semester is not the same. As someone who runs sound design, I own the subject. I want to stay current. I want to stay efficient. Anyway, speaking of, let's talk about something more precisely. Same question as before. I wanted to ask people, type in the comments or just yell out. Just how you're going with A, your sample pack, or B, just generally how you're using synths and plugins, especially from the ones we talked about. Has anyone had good results with simpler analog and drift, or just synthesis in general? You saving sounds? Just some comments. I just want to know how everyone's doing. Yeah. And please say something. Obviously, it's a chance to tell me, oh, it's too hard. No. Yeah. And why is that? Is that because of specifically the tools we're talking about, or just using the technology in general? The basics. All right. Well, in terms of like Ableton basics, then maybe specifically Ableton stuff we'll talk about outside the class. Okay. But specifically the instruments inside Ableton, like how are you going with that? Are you playing around with them is what I'm asking. Oh, nice. Nice one, Kieran. Yes, like I said, Rose, yeah, it's definitely hard, but you just got to do what you can. And yeah, we'll talk about specific things outside of the class, but let's focus on the sound design side. First, yeah. Yep. When are the assignments due? Well, everyone here's done the quiz, so the final assignment's due in week 14. 14? No, hang on, sorry. I think that's the old. No, it's still week 14. So yeah, this is Gig Fest, which is week 9. We go on a break for 2 weeks, and and when we come back, we resume with week 10, and yeah, it's due the end of week 14. Yeah. That's good, Angie. That's good. Yeah, 100%. And for you, Rose, I don't know. Obviously, I'll ask more outside the class, but in terms of this class, just focusing on the actual instruments, not so much making a song in Ableton. I just want to see if you think you can give that a go. So, for example, what I typically do in week 9 as a way to make sure everyone's on the right track, I want to show you a good workflow for doing the assessment. Do we think that's a good idea? Thumbs up, react if we like that idea, if we want to kind of like a efficient workflow for this. It's okay, Rose, that's okay. Well, I'm just going to show it anyway. Let's just talk about. Let's just go to blank template. So if you started already, sure, go with that workflow. But if you want some advice on how to do this assessment efficiently, the question was would you like me to show you what I would suggest is a good workflow, how to set up the Ableton project for the assessment? Okay. And Angie and Kieran, you cool with that? Yeah? Okay. So let's just go and look at the assessment itself. Oh, no, that's later today. Let's go to Teams. 1B, okay. Can I put up the week 8 video? Oh, it's weird, I've got to fix that. 1B, that's you. So, all right. So, skip. I highlighted this section for a reason. This is what we need to provide. 5 kicks, 5 snares, 5 tops. Brackets. Within that means percussion, hi-hat, cymbals, etc. You also need 2 bass sounds, which comprises of 1 sampled bass, 1 synthesized bass using analog drift operator wavetable, unless you're using third party. 2 pad / chord sounds, 1 sample bass, 1 synthesized pad. So same, sample bass, synthesized, sample bass, synthesized. 2 leads, 1 sample bass, 1 synthesized. Okay. Now, if you do the count, that is 5, 5, 5, 15 plus 6, 21 sounds. Okay. 2 of the sounds you have to send to me for feedback. That's my son. 2 of the sounds you had to send to me so I can provide feedback before the assessment's due. The sooner the better. And then therefore you send it to me. I say this is good, this is bad. You submit submit 2 new versions of that. So essentially it's 21 plus 2. Okay. Either way, let me show you some advice on how to set this up. Do your project setup first. Don't just do one layer at a time and one project at a time. We are being strategic. Okay. So what that means to me is making up 21 MIDI tracks. No, never the Ableton file. A screenshot of your settings is fine, but just mainly the sound. I just need to hear it. Because when you send project files, especially when sample-based sounds, I won't get the full picture unless you save it properly. So it's actually easier just to show me a screenshot of the instrument. So like this, just like that. And you send me the sound file and I'll figure it out from there. Okay. Oh, okay, good, Angie. He's really loud for me. It's so loud. Okay, cool. All right. So I got 21 tracks and I'll name them quite clearly. So I'll go kick 1, kick 2, and this might seem tedious doing this stuff, but you're gonna have to trust me on this, because if you do this right, it actually becomes a lot easier. Snare 1, snare 2, snare 4, snare 5. Top 1, top 2, naming these right from the offset, even like this, is perfect because when you export these files, they'll be named according to the track names. In an ideal world, in a professional world, I'll actually name it more specifically, like perchance, hi-hat, this and that, like I mentioned in the notes previously. But at the end of the day, we also have to do the assessment. So professionally, I want you to name it like, you know, the what I said before. So artist or company name, the instrument name, and then the descriptive title. For assessment sakes, we just need something down. So sample bass, synth bass, sample pad, synth pad, sample lead, synth lead. Now before you do anything, you save this. You save that into just somewhere here. Let's just go, just a different folder, give it a name. Initials are good to start with. DT TAFE sample pack 25. Cool. That's descriptive enough. So name it, then save it. So you don't have to worry about doing this ever again, right? Next thing you need to do, you make your clips. So if you look at the instructions, I specified I only want one shot for my drums. So that literally means one hit. So what does that mean? You take this clip of one hit, you option drag it or control drag on a PC and copy it all the way down for all the drum sounds. You know, I don't know about you, but those who already kind of dabbled with doing this assessment, saving things, you might realize, okay, hang on, there's something happening here. Likewise, we go to the synth layers. I'm going to go to the pad first, and I'm going to make blank template. Blank template is just literally an Ableton that opens up completely with no tracks, well, just one track, and I believe it lives here. There's this little icon here, right? Oh, let me drag it out. There's like a template thing here. I say I believe it's a blank template, but I can't remember if I made this or Ableton made it, right? It's not important. Whenever you start Ableton, there's going to be too many tracks, 2 audio tracks by default. You just delete the audio tracks because we don't need any audio tracks. We need just MIDI. Does that make sense? Yeah, for me, I just went to blank because my default template's very busy. It's perfect for me to make music personally. When I'm teaching, I actually rather go to blank template. Okay, not an instrument, no. Template is like the formatting of Ableton's set, which you can load. So you might have a blank one, or as you can see here, there's a mixing one. These ones I definitely made. I made a mixing one and a mastering one. Not important, especially for right now. So I'm going to go synth pad. Why? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a chord progression. Okay. I'm going to turn on scale awareness. Why? Because I suck at music theory. You don't need to do this. What you should think about is the most easiest chord progression of all. In fact, you're not getting marked for anything to do with the musicality of this. No, no, no. You're literally, I just want to hear the sound, right? So what I'm going to do, 1 bar chords, right? I don't even think this will sound good, but I don't know, I don't care. It's not my job. My job is not to make music in this situation. I'm making sounds, right? So I'm doing chord progression. Later I'm going to listen to this and probably feel like this is horrible, but we're trying to get a good workflow here. Yeah, that looks not good, but it's okay. So I got a chord progression here. Because this is a pad is, you know, sustained notes. Chords work best for pads, so I'm going to use this as a starting point. Obviously, I should have the same notes for the sample pad, because no one said you can't repeat the melodic idea because it's not being marked. And then while I'm here, I'll copy this to the bass, and I'll do the very simple thing of getting rid of the chord, just leaving the bottom hand, the left hand, the bass note. Because again, same reason, you're not getting marked on the melody. There's no composition to make, right? The only thing you're being marked on, if you look at the notes again, right? So here, create sounds, blah, blah, blah. Where did I put it? One-shot samples for drums, short loops for the melodic elements. So simple melodies are fine, yeah? So short loops. And if you think about this, this is a 4-bar loop. That's totally fine, right? Lead, I'll nick it from the chord progression again, and I'm literally going to do the opposite of bass. Maybe I'll just push this one somewhere else, like so. See, I'm not overthinking this step. I'm telling myself I just need one-shots and chord progression. Save, right? Programming side done. As in setup side's done. Now I got to do is the sound design, right? Now, no. So I made this all from scratch. So it doesn't matter what template you got. I've made 21 MIDI tracks. So that's why I said if you have but typically most people have 2 MIDI tracks, 2 audio tracks. Get rid of every track that's not MIDI, right? And just make sure you have 21 MIDI tracks, yeah? So my blank template starts with an audio track, so I made 1 MIDI track, got rid of the audio track, made 20 more MIDI tracks. Why? Because Ableton, you can't have a completely blank project there. Always has to be a track, right? It's just a quirk, it's nothing major. Anyway, looking at this, there we go. Do you understand what's going on? One shots for every drum. Short, melodically simple, and potentially bad loops, but I don't care, right? So that's the setup. The second thing, once you set up all these channels, because the content's been made, like the clips have been made now, I don't need to take up too much room in my project. So I'm going to hit this little triangle button here, right? I'm going to select all of these, then I hit this triangle to collapse the tracks to make it smaller, right? Because why? I only need to worry about what's in the current track I'm working on, okay? So let's start with track 1, which is kick. You can start anywhere, but for me, I'm just going to start from the top. Now, if I look at the recipe book inside Teams, the OneNote, you'll see, what's this one? You see I got recipes. And I mentioned analog kick, and last week I mentioned it's like a foundational sound. So what does that mean? It means this. You choose a method. I choose to use a synth. You don't have to. You can use a sample, but synths are more fun, right? So for me, I'll just use a synth. Okay. And arm that track. And all I'm going to have to do is hit play. Okay. And if I want to, I can just quickly click the clip itself, hit Command L or Control L on a Mac, and just loop it instead of triggering it. Because I already put it in middle C, every note's the same as every other track. I just need to focus on pitching and making the design of the sound. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. Forgot this. Not yet. My bad. No. Good call. 320. That's okay. I only just started making sound then. It's not like we missed too much. There we go. Everyone jump on that real quick. Okay. Right, so we got this sound. then I'll just do my what the cheat sheet says. So sound design cheat sheet, wherever we went to, blah blah blah. I don't need to read it because I know it, but this stuff is there for a reason. They're great starting points. So if you were to follow them, this is what happens. No filter. Yeah, any ornamentation? How do you mean, sorry? Yeah, there's no effects here, right? Yeah, so it's just straight drift. Is just playing, it's just an instrument, and the note that's playing is the C that I programmed before. I don't need to worry about the notes anymore because now I'm just worrying about the sound design. So if you read the notes step by step, basically tells you to choose a sine wave and then just start tuning. Oh, I just realized I'm zoomed quite a lot out for everyone here. Let me zoom in a bit more. Cool. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you all submitted the basics, I'd be happy because that's what I require is evidence of modulation, evidence of some sound design principles. If you want to prove yourself and actually engage yourself a bit more, you add some creativity, you know, add some more effects, tweak the basic settings a bit differently and try to get some different results. So exactly. 100%. But what I would love is for the kick, snares, and tops at least, actually for every sound, but mostly the drums is obvious for this because 5 kick sounds like a lot, especially if you've never done this before. I'd love it if everyone had the same kick, snare, and top, which is the basic sound, right? So just get one rudimentary sound, right? And then have 4 versions of different ones. I would love that because, you know, the kick foundation, analog kick sound I provided, that's a very foundational technique. It's good to do that, right? So when it comes to doing the assessment, you should do that anyway and just submit it as is. So I'll show you what I mean. If you follow the notes, this is what happens. Just go get some leveling here. I just gotta delete this because I was doing some fancy stuff on map. Cool. Do some volume. Yeah, when you do it enough, it becomes muscle memory. Yeah, of course, but it is possible to have it as a typical thing you do, you know? So there we go, we got a basic sound. It's not world changing, but it's a great start. Now, here's my advice. Let me ungroup this, just so I don't distract you. This is a great start, right? Okay, here's what I'll do. I got 5 other tracks, don't I? So I'll literally paste them here. What am I doing? I'm pasting that same foundational kick on the other kick tracks, right? So in a way, this method forces you to experiment. So you submit the foundation kick and then the other kicks, okay? And what we need to do is as soon as we move to, as soon as we've done one, what we should get in the habit of, if you're using the same technique as I am with this project template, is then we solo the next layer we're working on. Otherwise, if we hit play, the fact that I have 5 drifts now, or 5 instruments now, if I hit play, it'll be 5 kicks, so it's too much. So we just need it solo from now on. So this is kick 2, sounds the same as kick 1, as it should, because I copied it. Now what can I do to change it? Change the envelope amount. It's a different kick. Cool, done, sorted. move on. Kick 3. This one, let's try triangle. Sounds slightly different. Maybe we need to add some effects to change it up. Let's add some saturator. Classic combo. That's another kick. Done. Sorted. Next one. Solo. Let's try a different shape. Let's try this one again, but let's do something else. Sounds all right. Let's give it a bit more ring. Let's give it a bit more bass. Not bad, not bad. I can do this all day if I want to, but that's not the strategy. Don't be too precious at first. Actually, just get your result down first and push later. I'd rather you submit something than nothing. All right, let's go a bit heavier. Perfect. Okay, let's kick 4. So that's 5 kicks done in no real amount of time, isn't it? Didn't take super long. Oh, that's something different. Let's make a longer release, longer decay. I'm just changing the settings that was set up from before. What's the right answer? It's none from here. This mother foundation sound, that's a generic electronic sounding kick. If you copied it 5 times or 4 times, 4 other times, then you just tweak these settings that you've actually that you did before and see the changes that happens. You might get something different, and of course you will. It's an instrument. Cool. So I got kick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Control V for Windows, yes. Oh, there's so many questions. How am I pasting it's like with typical Windows or Mac, you just Control C, Control V, or Command C, Command V to copy and paste. So that's the same mechanic even in Ableton. I'm just too fast. Yes, I'm just changing the settings. So I've copied the first sound I made and I copied it to the 4 other layers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all I'm doing is I'm just tweaking this. And there's no right parameter, right thing to do here. I'm literally just turning it to the point where I'm like, oh, that sounds different enough. I'll go with that. The worst thing and the dangerous thing you can do with synth stuff is to think, oh, that number gets that result. No, these are all areas of the instrument that sounds different. Do I know what I'm doing? Yes, but do I also know exactly what I'm going to get? Educated guess, right? Because I've done this enough to know the areas of the instrument to tweak to do much, but I'm showing you that it's actually not really that complicated. I'm just playing with either sine wave or triangle, and if you don't know why, it's because it's mentioned in the notes. I say in one note, use one oscillator set to sine wave, right? But as explained in my classes, you can use triangle as well, right? But in this case, when it says here, tune to a low pitch for a good starting point, that's not a fine exact number, is it? I just tuned it down 3 octaves by happen chance. You can tune it to whatever you like. What will help you set you free, so to speak, is realizing these controls, that's where they are, but it's up to you to decide if you like this number or that number. It doesn't matter. You just turn it until you like it, right? So this sound we're focusing on, kick 3, I transposed it higher, which is the pitch, but I can have it as low as I like, and I've just stopped because I liked it here, right? So essentially, this is why it seems like a blur, right? Because I'm just tweaking, changing things, and it seems like it's moving quite quickly. But what I want you to realize what I'm doing is I'm merely changing this stuff, the oscillator, which we talked about, the envelopes, which I explained how important they are, and you can hear in full detail, changing the envelopes does a lot, and just tuning. So that's 3 parameters I'm changing, and after that, it's just what I prefer, right? Now, effects, granted, effects we haven't gone into, so that's a later week. When we get into effects, then that's more stuff to add, but this is just spices. This is not essential, yeah? I actually am looking for more work in the instrument. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me say what you're copying, then when you're pasting. Yes, yes, yes. What's the question? Well, I copied 2 things. So at first, I made 5 of the same tracks, and I just made 1 clip, and I just pasted down to the next track. Does that make sense? What I mean is after the first kick. So I copied the instrument, because you can click what you want, and you can copy what you want, and you can paste it where you want it to. So kick 1 was the foundation sound, yeah. So that's literally lifted from the cheat sheet I provided. That's every step. I just didn't open this and refer to it because, you know, I know by now. So that's the starting point. I just needed my foundation sound, which is this, yeah. So what I did then was I copied this into kick 2 track, then kick 3, kick 4, kick 5. I wanted 4 copies in addition to kick 1 that had the same starting point. No dragging. So all I did was, you just see my keystrokes. So I went here, copied this, and before this had something else, because that's just a default behavior of my computer with my Ableton. So it didn't matter what I had there, I just pasted it here. You can't see. So let me do it again. So I clicked, this is kick 1. It might look confusing because they all had the same stuff now, right? But what I did initially was the first one I started on, I just clicked the title here. I'm on the Mac, so it says Command C up here when I hit it. Command C, Command C, Command C. And then went to kick 2, just pasted it anywhere into this track. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, let's leave the copying mechanism outside of this class, yeah? So I'll talk to you outside of class and see if we can figure out what part we're missing. It's okay, don't worry about it. Once you do it yourself, I think it'll make sense, right? So if you just try with anything. If you had another track, right? So if you had this is a MIDI track. I have a device in there, I can get rid of it. Just hit delete to get rid of it. If I want to copy from another track, which is what I did, I just click the device that lives in this track, copy, I want it to go here now. So I'm going to go here, Command paste, Command V for paste. Another way to do it, if you prefer this, is to do this. If you want this to go to another track, let's just say I want this to go down here, then I'll go here, right click, copy, down here. This is a different track now, right click, paste there, although it doesn't like me right clicking there for some reason, so I'll just do the shortcut instead, which is Command V. Yeah, so this area shows me what's in this track. Yeah, so basically it could have anything depending if it's an audio track or MIDI track. Before it was a MIDI track. And don't get confused with too many things on the screen. I got a lot of automated stuff going on, but if you have a MIDI track, it should be completely blank like this. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I want to take this thing I made on another track, which is called Kick 1 in this instance. I just want to copy it, okay? Just whatever's here, I just want to copy this instrument into this track. Now the reason why I'm saying this is a good method for making your assessment is this is from the cheat sheet. This is how you make a basic kick sound, right? So this should be a starting point for everyone, yeah? What would make sense and what would make the assessment easier is if you just had 5 copies of the same foundational sound, this basic sound. Because if you did that, then all you have to do is change each one slightly, and then you'll have 5 different results. Does that make sense? So to do so, we just need to make 5 copies, essentially, right? So I make one first, then I'm copying, pasting. So I prefer to do the keyboard shortcut. It's just faster for me. So Command C, go to another track, Command V to put it into there, repeat it for the other ones. Once you say you're copying this track, you can literally do it, like you can literally paste it into as many tracks as you need. Yeah. So I'm just going to my other tracks, and now they have all the 5 tracks have the same instance of that basic sound I made. Okay. So the dropping mechanism, I think I know what you're referring to. It's when you take something that's in the browser and you drag and drop it into there. That's fine, but I'm trying to tell you a method that would be quicker, right? I don't know if people agree. Like, this is what I would do as someone who's had to make 20 kick packs and whatever. Why make a new track each time when you can just make a few blank tracks, then make a starting sound and just copying and pasting into the other tracks. That way it's quicker to then adjust. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense or not, right? But yeah, that's cool. Okay. That's right, Jasper. Okay, let's be clear here. This area is the browser. This area is the channel view. So what you see here is what's inside the channel. The channel being the channel that you're currently on. So as I'm clicking through these channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, they're showing me what's inside that channel. What might look a bit confusing is it seems like they're similar with slight changes because of what I've done to it, right? That's only the case because, as I'm trying to stress, a good methodology is to start with the same sound and copying it multiple times so you work quickly. So this is in an effort to work quickly and minimize overwhelm, if that makes sense. So drift is an instrument that I'm choosing to use here, but you could choose something else, right? I'm just using drift because that's my preference to do this kick. Yeah. Yeah. So drift is just an instrument. I can do the same thing with operator. Let's show you what I mean. So if I use an instrument from the browser, which in this case it's a different one called operator, which we're actually going to talk about today, right? What I do is I'm focusing on this. So again, knowing my basics, I do this. Now, we haven't talked about this instrument today, so don't expect to know exactly what's happening. But I'll just do this. So that's a good starting point. It's a simple sound. There's no effects. There's no crazy sounding stuff. It's just a basic sounding kick, and this is derived from the technically it's derived from the same sound design cheat sheet. Yeah, the basic kick sound. Okay, so like I said, strategy. I made this sound now. Now I'm going to copy you to my other channels. I'm literally copying and pasting. Paste. It's all pasting from the same spot. Now I got 5 operators. Okay. So now on kick 2, it should sound exactly the same as kick 1. Kick 1 I'll leave alone. That's my basic sound. Kick 2, I'll just change it up a bit. So I got kick 2, done, right? That's enough to sound different from the previous. Now I move on to the third one. That has an effect, so that's doing a lot. Happy with that. Cool, moving on. That has a different effect, sounds different enough from the last few. Right, happy with that. Kick 5, let's just change some other things. Let's go to triangle. Let's make this a bit longer. Cool. So that's my 5 kicks done. Okay. So the copying pasting thing, that's just to help us go boom, move on, right? I'll replicate this again with snare. Jasper, since you just came on, we're going to talk about FM, which is what I want to talk about today, but I thought I'd give everyone a bit of advice on how to do the assessment in terms of setting up their project. So what I recommended was to actually set up the project first, make 21 MIDI tracks because we need 5 kicks, 5 snares, 5 tops, 2 basses, 1 sample bass, 1 synth, 1 pad, 1 sample pad, 1 synth pad, 1 sample lead, 1 synth lead. So 21 MIDI tracks, name them because when you export these, that's what they'll be called, literally that. And not only that, but making the clip as well. So I made 1 clip, just 1 shot, just 1 note of C3. It's going for then less than the whole bar, so just long enough essentially. And I've copied the clips for all the drum sounds. So if I open these up, you'll see they all have the same clip. So I don't need to worry about pressing the key or anything. I just hit play and it does the rest, right? And for the melodic stuff, which is these last few here, I've made a chord progression on the pad channels, just a simple one, because I'm not marking how good the chords are and I don't care, right? So what I've done is I've copied it both here and here, and then I removed the top notes, the other chords, left the left-hand notes for the bass, and reversed that for the tops, for the leads. For the leads, I got rid of the bottom chords, yeah? Because that way, your project's set up, your melodic stuff is a short loop, because it's 4 bars, that's plenty, and your drums are one shots. Okay. Oh, by the way, Jasper, you're gonna need the link, don't you? So this is for you, Jasper. Jump on that. So yeah, with the snare, the same idea. So just rinse and repeat, right? So disregarding everything you see on screen, it's a blank channel. For you, it'll be a blank channel. For me, my channel behaves differently, but same concept. I'm starting fresh. I want a snare sound, so I'm gonna make one. Here we go. I'm using operator now because, yeah, operator is what we're going to talk about today. Okay. And what I need to do is add another layer. Oops, wrong thing, noise. Cool. Cool. So happy with that as a start. So that I'm happy with that as a basic sound. I'll take this, copy it down to the snare 2 track, copy to snare 3, copy to snare 4, copy to snare 5. So these 5 snare tracks sound the same. Now I adjust. Okay. So here, what can I do here? Maybe I'll just change the length of this. Cool. That's different enough from snare 2, snare 3. Just use some effects. Done. Snare 4. I'm going to copy this effects over to snare 4. Why? Because it's very useful, this one. There we go. Cool. And do that same trick again. Let's use a shifter. Like that. Maybe a bit of reverb. Cool. So that's 5 snares done. Tops. Tops, you actually got 2 sounds in the recipe book. You have hi-hats and percussion. Right, these 2 foundational sounds will make up your tops. Because tops can mean cowbells and blippy sounds, right? So if I do top 1, which will be a hi-hat, I can just start off with that and submit that. That counts as a hi-hat sound. So let's go drift. Oops, sorry. Okay. Cool, that works. Maybe just to EQ it, just to sound a bit lighter. Done. Cool. So that's a good top sound. That's like a cymbal, so that works. Second one, I'll just do a percussion sound. So another way to think about your assessment when it comes to the drums is the kicks are the low end, snares are the mid range, the middle of the frequency range, and tops obviously being top. So just think of it as 3 different parts of the frequency spectrum, and that will help you determine where goes where. So for tops, similar to a kick drum, I do similar movement. Just one will do. Let's go higher. Yep, that counts. So that's fine as well, and that's a great starting point. I don't need all these rack things. That works for me. Cool. So the tops are actually a bit easier, I think, because you can kind of just use this generic analog percussion sound that I'm making here and just tweak it with just what's on the instrument here. Oops, soloing the wrong thing. Yeah, maybe add some noise. Cool, that's a good one. Let's go to top 4. Paste that in again. Let's use a different waveform. Down a bit. Go. Not trying to be too reliant on effects, but effects are always fun. Let's put a reverb on it. Something like that. Okay. But yeah, don't worry about the effects side of things yet. Just get your fundamental sounds, the synthesis side of things first, because we haven't even covered effects in this class yet. Let's use a different one. Oh, that's not bad. Let's use an echo for this one. Oh, different enough. Higher. Oh, little zap. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that's another sound done. That's the tops. So that's 16 drum sounds done in minutes, right? Next, you do your bass, sample bass, and synth bass. Now, synth bass, the synth side should be easier than the sample side at first. Let's just solo this, and again, there's recipes on how to do it. But let's just do something together. effects if you want. Remember the melodic side of it, what the notes are doing does not matter. Doesn't matter at all. Let's just add some. Just want a bit of distortion here. And just for fun, let's add another one. Just adding another drift. That's the thing, like if this is too easy for you, because some people are further along than others, like, you know, at this point, this is what I do every time as a starting point. The next part is to layer it, but these tricks I'll show you later anyway, so it's not super important for now. So that's my synth bass done. And when it comes to the sample based, where would you start? You start from the waveform basics folder I gave you. So remember weeks ago, I gave you a folder. Where did I put it? Waveform basics. So you chuck in the simpler, solo, this one, loop it, shape it, I don't know why I'm doing that. Let's not do that. I'm just grouping it just use a specific technique here. Need to control the volumes a bit. Yeah, 100% I do. I'll send you a link in the chat. Let's put some effects, nothing too crazy here. Let's go. I say that, but I can't help but do certain things just because you get used to a certain way of working. Let's use reverb. I feel like duplicating that. Yep, so that's sample base. Rinse and repeat for the pads and leads. Um, yeah, a little bit, yeah, a little bit. I'm a bit of a fan of this older style, kind of classic sounds. Uh, it's the analog tones. But doing that with samples, there you go. Like you just, with the sample based layer, you just use simpler. For the synth layer, use any synth you want. Um, so for those who are Serum people, Jasper, I'm looking at you. Do it with Serum. Do whatever. I know you wanna. So if you're doing Serum, get onto that. Actually, maybe I'll keep it more simple. Let's go wavetable. And just as a, you probably know all about this, Jasper, but just to kind of like hint you to what I will talk about for the rest of today. The time's a bit fleeting. I'm going to show you a bit of this. This whole thing's a bit high, isn't it? Let's turn this one down a bit. Oh, there. Whoa. Yeah. Uh, Sweep this one. There's Vital as well, and this stuff I'm doing right now, literally can do exactly the same thing in Vital. Uh, when we come back from the break, we'll talk about this stuff. There it is. Kind of want to do random, but that's all right. There you go. So same thing, you can do it with a different synth. Just if you're using Serum, Vital, and Phase Plant, that's 100%. You can use them for these for the sample pack. Um, If it's not the ones I mentioned, check with me because some people use some weird ones and they don't count as synths. So um, check with me if you're not using Ableton stuff or Vital Serum face plant pigments. All right. If you're using free ones, that's cool. Just check with me if that's the case. Oh yeah, I don't know Douglas Holmquist. I'm gonna make a little note of that. I like this. Something I haven't heard of before. That's going. I'll check it out for sure. Ah, and yeah, if you just want to hear my stuff, that's probably not good on their SoundCloud. Because there's a question about checking out my music. Oh, I need to update that. That's all right. Cool. That's going in the chat if you're curious. He made the music for the iOS game Smash. Oh, did he? All right, that's legit then. I definitely didn't. I didn't know that, but I definitely will check that. I love that game. The sound is amazing. That makes sense. Oh, that's very flattering. I don't think I'm nowhere near as good as some of those type of guys, but anyway. Do people agree? Once you wrap your head around it, do people agree that this workflow is quite beneficial? Right? Do you agree? Because once you, no. I got lots to learn. The reason why I love sound design is because I feel like it's the one true thing that never ends. It's something that I'm more than happy to enjoy the process of learning throughout my life because I hear stuff from Sophie or um, uh, like some stuff that Atticus Ross does and Alessandro Cottini, the guys from Nine Inch Nails, and some of the neurodrone based stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a like Joe Ford and those sort of guys. Like it microwaves my brain, and I can hear the movement. So I'm at the stage where modulation sounds. I understand it now after all these years. Took me a while to get it because I ignored its existence. But as soon as I implemented what I'm teaching you now, it made things a lot easier. So I'm really teaching you the fast track version. Either way, I truly believe when it comes to doing this assessment, if you do the setup first, this becomes easier. Why? Because look, technically I have all the sounds I need here, despite some clipping, which I'll solve very quickly with a simple limiter. Just a limiter. It's probably more lag than anything, but either way. So because once you set this all up, look at this. What I need to do now is go to my export to audio. I was about to do the shortcut, but I'll show you the longer way. Export audio to video. And instead of the default main track render, which means it bounces whatever comes through the main channel, which is the master channel, we choose all individual tracks. We hit export. In this case, I'll save it to the desktop. Why not? Yeah, desktop. Because it's not a long track, it just does it all the way. And then what I can do now is I'll find this thing I made on the desktop. Oh, I didn't make a folder. Oh, what an amateur. Sorry. There it is there. But let me do this properly. It's meant to make a folder first. Make a folder first, silly. Export. New folder. DT 25 samples. Okay. So 25 is the year, not the amount, obviously. And now I can find the folder and just save this project first, but I'll go to new live set once I've saved. I don't know why I did that because then now you need a new listen to link. I kind of just want to show you that it's there now. It's done. So let me give you a new listen to link. Sorry, my bad. New link. Yeah, it's just like solid fundamentals that we can spend the rest of the semester to learn. So it seems it's definitely complex, but that's because there's a few things moving at once. But as I said early on, these things, these modulators, these oscillators, these things repeat themselves just in different faces, different masks, but you're doing the same thing. And once you combine all the techniques and you adopt that attitude of like, I'll give it a go, as opposed to I don't know what to do. If you give it a go, then it'll potentially award you. And when you do it enough, you know the sweet spots of your instrument. So I do happen to know from experience the sweet spots and knowing what to change. But believe you me, if I can do it, you all can do it, because it literally took me years of self-taught to learn the same thing. Whereas if I did this course, I would have been like, oh, thank you, someone actually just showing me the principles that make synthesizers and samplers musical, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't want people to make stuff that sounds like, oh, already cooked it. That's too basic, but you know, that stuff is more interesting. If you're on, just make sure you jump on the new link, everyone. I just see one person on so far. But yeah, what will happen is once you all jump onto the new listen to link, I'll show you what happened with this sample pack. So my sounds are all here committed. Kick 1, kick 2, oops, kick 2, kick 3. So the main point of me setting up all that stuff in the beginning is because when I export it now, it's so much easier just to do it in one fell swoop. Whereas I've seen people export each track at a time. Every export takes 45 seconds, a minute, depending on how fast your computer is. If you multiply it by 20, that's longer than you need to spend. So doing this, setting it up first, the export's done in seconds, right? It's just a lot better. There's my snares. Fair enough. Snare 5. Top. And let's hear the melodic stuff. Lead. I didn't do the lead, to be fair. I didn't do the pad, I just did the bass. And look, just zoom outside of this project from this assignment for a second. The ultimate goal, the other reason why I want you to, well, first of all, you have to. It's not I want you to. I do, but the assessment is compulsory if you want to pass. The reason why this assessment is good is because when you make your own stuff, give it a bit of love. Because once you've done that, then you can repurpose it. So I'll take this bass I made before and put it back into simpler here. All right, just play on the keyboard. I can still do more things to it. Take the gain down, add some more distortion. So repurposing yourself. Anyway, that's not super important. I'm just talking about an idealistic world for synths. Anyway, let's actually talk about what we're going to do today, right? Look back at this video if you like, and if everyone here on Ableton 12, the latest, because if everyone's on, oh, you're on 11. Ooh. Well, I don't have 11, but for those who are 12, thumbs up if you'd like me to send you that template. I'll just save one with no instruments and just leave it as the tracks. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that at least. Yeah. Actually, can I do that now? Let's open the tape sample pack. So main channels. We don't need that because you don't have that. I'll just delete everything except for I'll leave the chord progression, the melodies, but change it because I don't want to hear my crappy chord progression a million times over, multiple times over. Change up the notes is what I'm saying, but the drums you can leave alone. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Just a template, not giving you the actual sound design. Although, no, that's too, I want people to make the basic sound too. It's a diploma class, not high school, so I can't do everything for you. All right. Delete, 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 delete. So you just got to replace it with your own sounds, but at least you don't have to name every track yourself. At least starting and exporting the project at the end will be a lot easier. Just remember to export all individual tracks instead of the main track. So I'm going to file, save, live set as. I'm going to put insert initial underscore tape sample pack 25. Oop. Cool. And then start a new live set. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Just a force of habit. I'll pop it in the chat right now. So that would be in projects. Cool. All right, that's for you. Ableton 12 only. Sorry, Jasper. And actually, I'm on the latest Ableton 12. So if you're not running the latest, so if you're not running 12.2.5, it might not even work. So this doesn't matter if you're suite or standard. That doesn't matter at all. But it matters if you don't. I think it matters if you don't have the latest. You might not be able to open the brand new one. Fair enough. Okay. Running out of time today, but let's. I'll do two things. First of all, new listen to link. Oh, should I do that? Yeah, why not? Track supply. New link. Let's do a new link because there's something. This will help demonstrate the point for today. So for this week, we're getting into a different style synthesis, just for you to be aware of. And yeah, just to give you another option for you to choose to make your sample packs. New link, listen to. Yeah, that's a recent thing. Angie's right. They allowed a subscription-esque. It's not quite subscriptions. It's pay to own. I'm pretty sure. And it does take the cost down a lot. It's made it a bit more student friendly. Where before it's just like, come on, mate, we don't have that type of cash in this day and age. But yeah, that's a much more doable option. It's like, what is it? A few coffees, a few Sydney coffees. It's not too bad. All right, everyone jump on this and I'll talk about what we're doing. Who's heard of either additive or FM synthesis? Yeah, one Sydney lunch, yeah. One Big Mac, because I'm pretty sure they've gone up in price. Big Mac meal, I'm sorry. One Happy Meal, is that how much they cost now? I don't even know. So yeah, quick question, has anyone heard of additive or FM synthesis before? And if you have, tell me about it. Tell me what you know. Gotcha. All right. But you know it's different. Additives to add. Yes, Kieran. Yeah, you heard of FM. A lot of people may have come across it, but don't know exactly how different it is. In short, even though FM can be done by analog, in short, additive and FM synthesis is proper digital technology, right? It's even though there's a brief history in the notes, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the history so much. But all you need to worry about is that since the 80s, you had some key instruments. Some of you might have even recognized this one, the Yamaha DX7. Okay. These were when these instruments started becoming affordable and yeah, sold and widely used, right? The DX7, yes. Now, fun fact, the first FM synth actually was not the DX7, far from it. It was a synth used in the original Tron, speaking of scores and whatnot. And the Tron score, I heard about it. Yeah, it's on the list because I'm a huge fan, and I'm arguably a bigger fan of the legend that is Wendy Carlos. So Wendy Carlos, she wrote the original score in the 1982 Tron, and it sounded like nothing else before that point. Like it was just she changed the game, right? Yeah, Daft Punk did great, but I would argue the Wendy Carlos score is phenomenal. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I get a bit passionate about it. But Wendy Carlos was working at a time there was no MIDI. A. B. She'd used the first FM synthesizer ever to be made on it. It was called, it was Kruma, wasn't it? Kruma. And it's amazing because it looks really scary, that synth. So Wendy Carlos, let me just go Wendy Carlos Kruma. Give me a picture of it, will you? The GDS synth. If I can just get a picture of it, then you'll get what I'm talking about. GDS. That's not it. That's not it. There. There it is. Kruma GDS. This thing, right? Anyway, Wendy Carlos. She was one of the. I was on Dr. Bob Moog's speed dial. Like when he made something, he would check with Wendy if it was a good idea. That's how important she is. I don't think she gets mentioned enough, but Wendy Carlos in the synth world is a god, right? So definitely look her up. She's a big deal if you care about the history of synthesis and cool sounds. And if you listen to the Tron soundtrack, it's just amazing. And it didn't win a Grammy or an Oscar because Tron itself was the first animation digital animation user. Does that make sense? So they used like digital technology to add to the film, which at that time was blasphemous. So it didn't win any awards, but it was very groundbreaking, just was not understood. So neither the soundtrack, neither the movie was understood as much around that time, but of course it's left a legacy that is iconic in my eyes. Anyway, um, so yeah, this technology was used for that. Yes, you did. I'm telling you, she's a gangster. She's freaking sick, right? And yeah, amongst other things, she's done plenty of stuff. Genius. And to do all these electronic scores without MIDI and making her own sync boxes, making her own devices. Yeah, we're talking about an absolute gangster of the music industry. Doesn't get enough flowers. Wendy, badass. All right. Anyway, so you've seen FM. What the hell does that mean? Well, there's a clue in how these synths look. They look complicated, namely for the fact they have these mathematical looking things there, which is just a diagram, by the way. You can't play with that. And you look at a DX7. If you ever come across a DX7, you realize, hang on, there's buttons and there's a slider, a data entry slider, right? So this is the clue to how the 80s, when you hear a digital kind of tone, like a digital kind of synth, it all sounds the same because majority of people buying this instrument and playing it and using their tracks, they did not know how to use this thing. They just used the presets. So an example of that is if everyone's on the new listen to link now, I can demonstrate to you what a typical FM sounds like via the wonderful medium that is Nintendo 64 and the video game called Super Mario 64. I got 3 people online. Let's check it out. Everyone can hear? Oh yeah, it certainly is. I gotta give you the visual because this is what Jasper is referring to. Cursed, yeah, cursed. Oh, this one. Oh yeah, sure. I should put gameplay. My bad. Yeah, there's bloody bubbles. The amount of times I died because of those bloody bubbles. Anyway, uh, so this song's a bit of a trigger, a traumatic trigger for me, but that's besides the point. The main thing is that it uses FM. And why does it sound like that? Because this, you can say it sounds like a bit like an electric piano, but it doesn't. Especially if I do more to it. Certainly bell-like, certainly keys-like, but it's not. It doesn't sound like what we've been using. Right? It's a very strange instrument amongst other sounds, but even though it's digital, the DX7 was digital and FM primarily is digital, it doesn't mean it has the bad connotations of digital. It doesn't sound thin. It doesn't sound what people say. It's if you've heard that, right? Digital means more flexible, more powerful. Not definitely linear. So analog is non-linear, but digital is more like precise. And what you can get is a great mixture of sounds, right? Now, ways to describe it is you can get, let's just start with a blank operator. You can get a nice kind of pure sine wave as a default, which sine waves, as you know from me by now, great subs. So that dispels any myths about lack of weight and fullness. It's very full sounding there. And of course, the next thing it can do is it can do waves, complex waves that you can't get in analog. So what I mean by that is, let's look at a oscilloscope so you can see what the waveforms are. So at first we're starting with sine wave. Where is it? Direct. Give me an oscilloscope, please. Go on the track, will you? Let's look at this together. Sine wave. Now, here's the thing. By doing something very simple, I'm creating a more complex waveform. I'm making waveforms we have not seen before. Together, anyway. And now we're in Sega territory. Anyone play Sega? Sega Mega Genesis or Mega Drive or Genesis? Yeah, because Sega's used FM synths. Anyway, so if you ever played Sonic on a Sega Mega Drive and you heard how yeah, the Aladdin game, Jesus, if you heard the sounds on the Sega, very distinctive, almost like hollow digital. And if you were a big Nintendo fan, jumping on a Sega was almost disorientating, just how different it sounded. But there's a reason for it. Yeah. So FM's instruments, they have this tone about them. They have a traditionally quite a full tone if you let it, and it can get very complex and harsh and brittle and hollow and bell-like very quickly. Yeah. Jurassic Park, yeah, Sonic, Shinobi. Shinobi was great. That's one of my favorites. Nothing like the old Bullet Hell games. Yes, so how it works is actually more simple than you think, right? So we just go down here. Let's just look at this graph. So the one thing we just need to wrap our heads around is that instead of oscillators, we're talking about another terminology called operators. Okay, so oscillator sections are referred to as operators. That's your first clue that you're using a completely FM synth. Okay, so in that case, Ableton's operator, duh, that's the reference, is 4 operators, and you can turn them on and off. So now this is not working at all. Yeah. Here's the thing. So it's a good question. If you look at this, actually you can hear it. It doesn't stack, does it? It's changing it. Whereas if I do something specific, this is stacking. Right? But I'll get back to that. So the quick answer is that traditionally it doesn't stack. In more modern, 100%, 100%. And as you can, if you remember what guitar pedals are all about and the signal flow, then this should trigger something in your memory, right? So this, yep. So that matters. And also, if you look at a DX7 panel, all this fancy stuff, that starts to make sense. Or that gives you a key that this is an important part of this, all this, yeah? Anyway, so what's happening is, no worries at all. All good, all good. So how it works is quite interesting, because what happens in an FM synth is you have a relationship. So at first you have something called a carrier, which is the OG, the original signal. So in the case of the default mode in operator, the carrier is always A, right? That's why if I turn A off and press any of these, nothing will come out. Press any keys, nothing will work. I need my carrier. My carrier has to be on at all times. Yeah. So there's a carrier, and what happens is when you use the other operators, just one will do, but as you can see, you can use 3 or more, depending on the instrument. But in operator, there's 3 other oscillators. What they behave like is what we call a modulator. And what happens is that second or third or fourth oscillator will affect the carrier. And how it affects is basically its signal modulates this, right? And we call that modulation frequency modulation, because depending on the signal, okay, let's just go back to basics here. Yeah. Zoom out a bit so you can see my oscilloscope. What's happening is the more level I give the modulator oscillator, the more it vibrates, for lack of description, vibrates and creates different harmonics, right? So essentially it interacts with my carrier, and the level of it causes more frequency to happen. So frequency is in movement, more vibration, and you can literally see that. Right? So that's just purely by having another one. And you can create complex networks of oscillations, so complex tones, by adding more and more modulation, more and more modulator oscillators. Was that right? Yep. Always, 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 always. That's how you do it. 100% you can, right? 100%. Yeah. But here's the thing, I got to stress this, and this is a personal discovery, because I've used Operator for years, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. My thing with it is that you don't need to push it as much, right? So what I'm trying to say is less is more with this, because it's so powerful and so quick to turn up a little bit of these coarse parameters, and you get the most craziest oscillator wave shapes you've ever seen. And to be honest, when you go even a little bit too far, it becomes kind of unwieldy, right? Whereas there's sounds, let me show you some sounds I've made with operator, just to demonstrate my point. All right, where's me library? Operator, presets. Might have saved them as racks, but we'll see. Audio effect rack, no. Let's go to presets of instruments, operator. Yeah, I definitely saved that as a rack. So I'll show you the ones here. I remember where they are. So PSC leads, where's the Brady ones? Basic, so this one. So this sounds almost analog, right? And as you can see, I'm barely touching these at all. All right, what else we got? We got the pad one. Where is this one? So operator is interesting because even though I say it sounds harsh and whatever, blah, 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 it is capable of doing analog kind of tones as well. But then I also have some sounds which are like, yeah, will melt your face off. What do we have here? Hopefully this loads properly. Exactly, unless you want it. If you want unwieldy, then go for it. But there's a key factor of operator that makes this instrument allow you to control unwieldy. Wow, what's taking so long here? This one, I should have opened this one. What sort of sound was I cooking here? Yeah, right. It doesn't like this one. I might need to restart Ableton. Made a sound that breaks it. Yeah, gonna have to do that. Oopsie. Ableton. Just a bit of technical difficulties. We'll be back in a moment. What did I say? No. That's what happens if 5 hours of sleep. That's what it does to you. New listen to link. I'm so sorry. I think we're going to have to split this over 2 lessons because it does link with the lesson after the break anyway, so it won't be too weird. But yeah, we're going deep. Main listen to, new link in the chat. Log in. Sorry to do this, but this happens when I flick projects or if Ableton crashes. Just the way it goes. In the meantime, let's see if this loads. Try that again. Presets, instruments, instrument rack. Is this operator? Nope. That's one. No, that uses sample. Yeah. So for that unlucky person that jumped on just then, yeah, that's operator. That's what operator can do. Cool. What else we got? So operator is actually a key part of my sound actually. So this is my default template and operator lives under the bass channel. And of course, for the more obscure ones, I mentioned Sophie before. I was big. She's like one of my favorite sound designers of all time. These bubble sounds. Operator playing a key role there. Oh, and of course, the classic dance sound. Donk. Yeah, gotta have that. Anyway, so what happens is a behavior, Russian hard bass. Yes, Jasper. In fact, if you go through the notes, I'd get you to recreate the dock sound, but if you scroll down further, you see there's exercise 2, and there you go. I get you to make the donk bass from UK hard house and Russian hard bass music. There you go. Gotcha. Got you sorted. Actually, let's look at that project. And I know we're probably over changing this project again, but this is extremely relevant because you're going to be making this song yourself, ideally. If you want to, but you should. All right, so check this out. All right, new link come in. You're going to want to hear this because this is what you're going to be making. Log in, 320, start stream. Yeah, and the Adidas tracksuits. Got to do the squats in front of the dodgy cars. Yep. Gotta show our respects. All right, so this is the track where you're going to remake, including the quote-unquote donk. So there's your donk that's been used as an effect, really. Yeah, and then the wub, which you're using operator to do this. This is why operator is so good. This is version 1, but I set it in notes. You can just change this value and you get different basses, different harmonics. And it's why in the bass music circles or bass-centric genres, FM synthesis is an engine we use a lot. And to demonstrate my point as well, when we do wavetable after the break, Serum, and this again, Jasper pointing you out, mate. Where's my presets? There we go. FM sounds, here we go. Right, so that's sort of nonsense, right? All right, so FM's a key sound when someone's knocking the door, which is probably a sign that we've got to wrap this up. So anyway, so just quickly go here. If we do go back up here. So yeah, basically what's happening is that you're getting a complex waveform. It's as simple as that, really. Now I mentioned additive as well, even though we don't have a proper additive synth inside Ableton. We kind of do. That's why I'm mentioning it all. So additive works a similar way. So additive is about taking individual harmonics and adding them together. So very similar to FM, but FM is a more simplistic, quicker way of getting advanced waveform. Whereas an additive, you're strictly using sine waves, only sine waves to do this. Whereas FM, I'll show you quickly. Solo this, go to operator. You can go into these sections and change to the default sine wave to something else, like a saw. But this is a digital saw. Or triangle, or a low resolution saw, something that'll come out of a game. So I'm gonna have to open this door. 1 second. Hi, Leo.
Go, run into the bathroom. Not on the bed.
Yes, so basically you have options, and what makes this synth additive is when you go to user mode, when you go to user mode, you can actually essentially turn this to an additive synth. And create more interesting sounds, which is essentially what additive synthesis can do, right? And this, if you've seen a Hammond organ, Hammond organ with the drawbars, it's the same methodology. So these drawbars, I know that's a plug-in, but when you pull these drawbars, you're actually adding harmonics, which means Hammond organs or electric organs were essentially additive synths, but they were more simple. Hence why it sounded the way they did. But here we have a deeper control. That's the additive part. Whereas if I just went to the default settings here, I get this pure sine wave, and it can get more complex waveforms as a result by just turning things up. Now, just before we go, and time is gone, yeah, that's very typical in all cultures. Electric organs were very normal a thing to get for various reasons, and that's why early synthesizers were marketed as electric organ replacements. They weren't meant to be what we use them for today. They were meant to be the next organ, which is hilarious. Anyway, so I'll explain more next time, but just to get you started quickly for the exercise, I want to point out a couple of things for you. So this is operator A, B, C, D, so 4 operators. Within there is the oscillator, as you can see. Notice there's an envelope in here, and this envelope is unique to that operator. A, B has its own, C has its own, D has its own. What that means, this is where it's completely different to before, is that you can have 4 different timings for the voices. That's crazy, right? But what makes operator extra crazy is the fact that if we skip over these panels, there's a filter. And what did I say about subtractive synthesis? If you see a filter, then it's a subtractive synth. This is our first hybrid instrument. It can do FM, that's the FM part. It can do additive, that's where you do additive. And the fact that you can filter, you get the benefit of subtractive synths as well, which means you can take out some of that, control some of that nastiness. So if I add just some beautiful reverb and so forth, chorus and reverb combo. Watch my gains a bit. I'm getting this 80s-esque vibe. What is multiplication division? Oh, what's that referring to? Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, wow. Hmm. Ah. Yeah, and whereas yeah, and yeah, that makes sense. And I didn't know that about guitar pedals, but within synthesis like additive and FM, it refers to the amount of modulation that's occurred from the method, so either FM or additive. The reason being is because FM and additive, they're maths based, right? And just to tie it off, I know we're over, but just to leave you, and then we'll review and do a proper deep dive in FM because it ties into wavetable as well. The maths part here allows us to rearrange the routing, just like you do in guitar pedals, rearrange the routing of the relationships of the operators. So by default, D is going to modulate C, C is going to, the result of these two modulate that, and the results of everything modulate the carrier. But if that's too much for you, you can split it up. So this means just the top two modulate each other, these two do the rest, this one they split up, so on and so forth. And the last one, there's no modulation between the operators. Okay, so that's why the last one, no, yeah, it's completely split, which means that the last one converts operator into a subtractive synth, like almost like an analog style one, which is pretty cool. So that converts it. It's you would, but this is different. This is digital based, so this is a more precise control mechanic. So think of it as a subtractive synth, but it allows me to time the voices separately still, which is very cool. But also, just the last thing I'll talk about, since things are going a bit crazy in the background. Um, the last thing is, just as a cheat code, if you make something here, this is a quick way to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different, or 10 other variations. So I'm just going to hold a chord. Let me just open the filter a bit so you can hear it. Subtle. So it's kind of a, I need to do more with this one here. There we go. Let's change it up. Yeah, some of that was very harsh, but that's very cool, very interesting because there's a lot of power with not many things to press to get to that. Anyway, that's we need more time, so we'll do that after the break. Okay. All right, peeps. Do what you can with the exercise, and look, I won't be surprised if it'd be a bit tricky because I skipped a lot of things on how to use this instrument. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of lot of power in this. Yeah. All right, peeps. Enjoy your break. Enjoy 2 weeks off, and I'll see you then. Okay. No worries. All right. And I'll send the videos and all that. Okay. See ya. Bye.